Now there's people with pools, there are people with dogs, there are already enough crime in this area in parks. Now we're just gonna put it in our backyard. So I'm asking you, would you like that in your backyard? If there was a piece of property right against your property line, would you want to park? Exactly. Possibly. Okay, then let's look into that. Let's look into it. You have enough people here saying we don't want this. We don't need this. It's a waste of money. But yet you will not, once again, listen to constituents. You are here to serve us, not rule us. And that's what you guys seem to forget. Every time.
What are we doing now?
Don't be condescending. I have never, ever.
Excuse me, that's my mom. Please do not
I'm
talk
sorry,
to her.
I'm
You're
sorry.
say your name first.
Okay.
Sir.
I'm sorry.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Waterloo, 25-year resident, 400 Keaton Court. And
Most of us here.
I don't understand the justification of putting that on a strip of land that is maybe 150 feet. The traffic, they fly down. Who thought of this idea? I mean, you have parks all over. In the borough, you have over. What's the justification of this? What is the upside?
Sir, if I may, the board is exploring a possibility. No decisions have been made. They are, in fact, as I said, they are listening to you. They are listening to everyone. No one is disregarding the comments that have been made. This was identified as land that was, prior to any of you buying your property, dedicated. It's in the declaration for the community that this was continued as an offer to the township for land for a township park. The township became aware of this recently and is exploring if there's any viability, willingness to, they are considering that no action has been taken at this point. And so I think that your comments are valuable, but I don't think that's helpful for, that part is not on the agenda tonight. This board has done nothing tonight.
This is an open forum though, so
It
we're allowed to
is.
speak
It
about it.
is.
But you also have to remember that at the workshop, you also said that nobody from Foxbrook has contacted you, or nobody's been complaining. So we're here to make a presence, to say that we are complaining.
Which is totally your right, but I just, if you can do it respectfully,
I don't think
understand
anyone
that
has been
the
disrespectful.
board is listening.
Can I also say though, that the same conversation that we're having about this park is the same conversation about the walking path that's in my backyard now. So we don't believe anything that any of you are saying. We don't believe you have the interests of our community anywhere up there. We fought against the walking trail. I came to the trail meeting. I was treated so disrespectfully. It was like, you rent that view. That's what I was told by members of this board. Maybe not all of you. John, you were there. This was how many years ago before the community was even built? So I'm sorry if this community has no faith that you guys have our best interests at heart. Because I now have to put a camera in my backyard. I now have to spend thousands of dollars to protect my property because you put a walking trail, you allowed that builder to put a walking trail which was supposed to be open to the public. Thank God it's not, quite frankly, but it will still. It's not going to keep people riffraff off that back. So I'm sorry if we don't believe that you have any of our interests. You might hear us, but you don't care. And you've proven that time and time again.
Judge, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, basically, what I just think there's so many other places that you can allocate responsibility. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, the police force, you know, when I first moved in, there was a small force,
Yeah.
right? And there's increased break-ins. There was a break-in over Chestnut Ridge. Rumor has it, I don't know if it's substantiated, but we're gonna have an increase of this if we keep on putting funds in parks and things that aren't going to be monitored. And it is our backyard. You know, my fence goes right up to my property line. I put a nice pool in, great view, and from our perspective, you wouldn't want that either. That's why I got upset. Is it Laura? You wouldn't want that. I mean, just because you can do it, doesn't mean you should do it. It's that simple.
Care about their constituents.
That's what it costs thousands of dollars. You're gonna have to make a parking lot. You're gonna have to level the land. That's tens of thousands of dollars. Think about that. There's a lot of other areas, infrastructure, and there's future growth plans. It's just, to me, I don't understand it. And, obviously, I am biased because I've lived there for a quarter of a century, paid all my taxes. My neighbors here, we bought homes together in the late 90s. And I saw them on the thing to be dedicated to the township. They also promised us a tot lot. That never happened. These things happen. And then 25 years later, all of a sudden, someone says, let's put some kind of playground. Like, when I first heard that, I was like dumbfounded. That's all I have to say. I just think there's so many, from a priority standpoint, it's down here. Thank you.
The question of the law enforcement, we did have, the police department was disbanded in 2005. And one of the action items for the township in the comp plan said that to explore the possibility of a police department, and with a recommendation to go with the regional police department. So the board pursued that around 2013, 2014, and then the task force ended abruptly in 2015. I did come prepared tonight with what research I did on that 10, 12 years ago, so I can make that available to you. There's also be a letter of intent from the governor's office that we wanted to look into police department. We sat down and had discussions with West Brandywine Township as well as Huntington Borough. But that's been a good 7 years now. So the material I have to offer is, there if you wanted to see what, it gives us some baseline of some of the work that was done based on the number of residents, the land area, and so forth. So some of that information you heard from Chief Wilson, because he was a part of that task force. So he was reiterating some of the stuff that we had discussed back then. So I'm hearing from the community that this is something that is of importance, and this is something we can bring to the next workshop meeting and discuss. If there's an interest on the board's part to go into another round of this task force and understand what the options are, how much it would cost, and what we can actually afford, because that's the big thing. And whether the state of Pennsylvania does encourage regionalization of police departments because of the exorbitant cost of police protections. So, there has been some effort on that part, but of course it did get followed through and brought to fruition.
I just want to clarify something that was just said so you understood. That I said maybe it was unsubstantiated that about the Chestnut Ridge break-in. There was a break-in, these are friends of ours. I just want to let you know the update is a couple of days ago they found the car that was involved in the break-in. It was in Rhode Island. Yeah. Okay? And the reason he knew it was because some of the things that they stole were inside the car. Yeah. So, again, I saw this car myself. That day it happened. I was downstairs. I happened to see somebody walk in the neighborhood. I saw this car go by. I was like, that's a very strange car. Completely tinted, white Dodge Charger. No one in the neighborhood has it. He's going 2 miles an hour. What's he doing? Didn't think much of it at the time. And it turned out they saw it in Chestnut Ridge, and that's the car they found in Rhode Island with the lady's things in it. So, all the way from Rhode Island. Yeah. Next.
I have another question.
Just to make it clear, 2 workshops ago, there were a number of the Foxborough residents that voiced their concern that they did not want this recreational area. And for the last supervisors meeting, it was on the agenda to dedicate the park, and Warren had already gotten quotes for design of the recreational area. So you guys haven't been listening to us, and it wasn't until our development had to hire a lawyer that came out of all of our pockets to fight this, and so you guys would actually put in writing that you actually got opposition. So you weren't listening to us. We told you numerous times we didn't want this.
And it wasn't until our whole development showed up that now we have your attention. So hopefully you listen to us moving forward.
I would just like to say, I think the wording that was on the agenda may have been poorly worded, but what was on that agenda related to, I believe the wording was something like start the process. It was intended solely as sort of to start to explore the possibility.
We had quotes already for design. So,
That's not a real, it was not a real design quote of any substance. They had never stepped foot on the property, okay? It was from an aerial photograph, it was nothing substantive. I want there not to be misinformation, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, and no one here is trying to hide the ball. This board is not, I appreciate your skepticism, but they really aren't. We are trying to be clear and open with the public about what is happening. At this point, this is where it stands. Nothing has been decided. And so I appreciate your concerns, but I think the board is in fact listening. And nothing was pre-decided even before you have an attorney. I want you to,
The camera.
I'm sorry, now I'm,
Karen has divorced, I will not be my advocate because I've been having people stop at my house and take pictures of my house and my property. I'm tired of it. And I know it's in regards to, your work or the Chestnut Ridge, whatever. Okay. My thing is this, I don't live in Roxbury. Okay? That property's been here 25 years. Is that how old it is? 25 years. All of a sudden, it comes to you guys saying, oh, maybe there's some land here that we can take and use for a playground. Somebody had to do some digging into some paper to come up and find that there was a dedication. Because if you knew it ahead of time, wouldn't you have done it when you were building the houses?
Yeah.
I think, I don't think you all want to be on the board of supervisors.
Well, that information was not available to us until recently when it was brought up after one of the discussions. But just to go forward, I'm a member of the Chester County Association of Township Officials, and we do have a meeting coming up with the Chester County Commissioners. So last time we met, we discussed 322 and the fact that there's needs for, there's going to be a great amount of a large volume of traffic that's going to be taxing this existing road. So that's something that we brought to the Chester County commissions. Also, we have the availability to work with the other municipalities. We have open meetings for the Western Chester County COG, and there's Zoom meetings where you can listen in. It's also an opportunity to know what the other municipalities are dealing with, because often they're dealing with the same issues as we are. I think if some people are aware of that, those opportunities are there for us. And one of the things that will be discussed at the Western Chester County COG will be an EAC potentially for the COG. So that's something that you may be interested in knowing about. This was just something that I'm adding into tonight's discussion. You can reach out to the board of supervisors at honeybrook.twp.com. As I said earlier, I have some of the information. I even have the letter where they disabled the police department, and the explanation that was given back in 2005. All right. So on that note, I just say I appreciate everyone for coming this evening. I'll turn to the board if you have anything that you want to add before.
One more thing.
Yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I'm going to feel a certain way when I leave here if I don't speak out. Mike, with all due respect, I would like my comment to be taken very seriously. It is very, very serious when you are a woman walking alone. I know that you men do not understand that, but you do have a certain heightened sense of awareness. And what I saw on that trail was not you. It was somebody running towards me aggressively, and I don't want it to be made as a joke, and I don't want it to be taken lightly. My safety is important. My neighborhood safety is important. The children in our neighborhood safety is important, and all of the women that walk that trail, whether they're alone or with their dog or with their children or with their partner. So I need to say that because I don't think it was a laughable matter.
Well, Chief wanted to agree that, go ahead, Mike.
And ma'am, I'm sincerely, I wasn't laughing at you at all, and I don't want you to feel like I was disregarding you at all. I literally thought you were scared of me walking through the woods, because I did see you and your dog. So please, I just want to be clear
I
about
don't think your
this.
intention was to be disrespectful.
Okay, I just want to be
We
clear.
just
That's
don't know
all.
it was you, and
I understand, and I was there that morning, I was doing inspections, and I just didn't want it to be misunderstood or misconstrued that it was me, and obviously it wasn't me, so, okay. I was gonna approach you after the meeting.
One more, gentleman.
Jennifer D'Arcangelo, 2475 Cambridge Road. The gentleman that was bringing up the land preservation that he thanked the community courier, can we put that in the newsletter and when it's mailed out to everybody, maybe that would be, get
Yes, it can be included. The last issue of the newsletter, it was electronic, it was not mailed out.
So are they gonna start getting mailed out
That I think
because
is a
of
decision
the
of the
elderly
board if
people
we
and
continue
the Amish?
to mail that out.
What? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so going forward with the newsletter, that's something that the board will have to look at going forward, because the amount of papers that's either not getting delivered or, it ends up piles of paper that just doesn't get looked at.
Okay, and another topic I brought up a few months back about the township taking back Cambridge Road. There was mention that there was an older bridge on it, and my understanding is that the county takes care of the bridge. So with that news, what has to happen for the township to take back Cambridge Road? I mean, what steps need to be taken, or can?
Okay, I'd have to turn, Mike, do you have any idea?
There is a process in doing that, I don't know that off the top of my head. But if the board wants us to look into it, we'll certainly will. You know what that is.
I mean, there's a lot of money for the, like, under the road budget, right? I mean,
Well, I think that's, board, follow up on that? Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Yes, so the board acknowledged and said yes to have Mike go ahead, go forward on, to look at that.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
Any further questions?
Sean?
Yes?
Renee Kriegman, Foxview Road, Honeycomb. So my question is, tomorrow the Zoom at 4:30 with Ann Hutchinson to discuss the ordinance, is just going to be with you? Or is it going to be with the entire board, or
I'm attending.
just the Zoom,
Yes.
just the two of you? And then I just wanted to kind of reiterate what I heard 2 workshops ago, that Ann Hutchinson said that there was a strength in our ordinances and no weaknesses. And so when that gets portrayed back to the community, when will we know what that report entails?
Okay. Then that'll be my action item to follow up with it.
So that would be at the workshop
At the
possibly?
workshop.
Okay, thank you for your time.
All right, at this point,
Do we have anybody on Zoom?
yes, Zoom, they didn't ask.
I don't know if there's any questions, but there's several people.
Okay. Sorry, we focus on the people in the room. Anyone on the Zoom call would like to, questions, comments, please? Okay, having heard none at this point, I'll ask, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Oh.
The Scots are going to
Yes, I saw them leaving, so I was wondering if they are going to.
I had it on the agenda, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I wondered, I saw the red jackets, so, yes, I think they had to go leave, because it was getting late. All right. And then yes, Bob, we thank the Boy Scout troop for coming tonight. It was a wonderful presentation that they did. Yes, there's a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you everyone for joining this evening.
Got a little emotional.